You're watching Market Makers. I'm Eric Schatzker.
And I'm Stephanie Rule. Big economic numbers we got to break this morning, Eric.
Right now, in fact, breaking economic data. We're talking about resales, existing homes. A big number. Let's take you straight to Julie Hyman. Julie, we haven't seen a number this high in almost 4 years.
That's right, since November of 2009. So the rate here on an annual basis in July, 5.39 million homes. The existing home market, of course, the largest part of the home market by far. And the revision for June wasn't a big one, just down to 5.06 million homes from 5.08 million homes. Now, as we said, the highest that we've seen since November 2009. We have a lot of buyers that are getting into the market now because they think, like many economists, that indeed the Fed is going to start to taper. We are going to continue to see interest rates go higher, so they're trying to get into that market before that happens. We should mention that this number that we're seeing is also above the median economic forecast. Forecast from economists was 5.15 million. And prices, by the way, up 13.7% from a year earlier. So you're seeing that combination there of the increase in volume and the increase in prices, adding to evidence that we've recently seen on the new home sales front, on the pricing front, the trend that we've seen in existing home sales, all of this pointing to the continuation of the housing recovery, and with this latest number really being a milestone, guys.
Julie, thank you. Julie Hyman, our senior markets correspondent with the latest on existing home sales. With us now, one of the nation's top experts on residential property, Dottie Herman. She's CEO and president of Douglas Elliman, the number 4 ranked real estate company in America. Douglas Elliman also is New York City's largest residential brokerage. Dottie, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Great to see you.
So one point to make, in addition to what Julie said, 6.5%. That is the increase month over month in these annualized existing home sales. We haven't seen a number like that since August of 2010. What does it tell you?
Oh, I think it's just still more to come. I mean, there's such a pent-up demand. People finally saw that the end was there and prices were just going to go up. Now interest rates slightly rising. It's back. And I have to say...
What's back exactly?
What is it exactly?
Well, I've always said home ownership is the American dream, and it'll always be here. People want to own.
All right, but is it the American dream or is it the American birthright? Should all of these people be out there buying homes? Remember, 2005, 2006, everybody believed it was the dream. They believed it. They deserved to own a home, and guess what? They didn't.
Well, I agree. I think it's an American dream if you have a job and you can afford it, all right? And I think that what happened is they gave it to people that really had no jobs. They had stated income. They could tell you what they made and make it up, basically. And so we got ourselves in a lot of trouble that way. But with the tight lending restrictions today, that really can't happen.
And who's really buying today? Here in New York City, who's got money to spend and what kind of properties?
Well, it started with obviously the very high end, but those people started coming back to the market well before everybody else because they saw that opportunity. Entry-level markets, if you want to say that we have some still left. And what's happening as the prices go up in New York City and the rentals also, you've now taken Brooklyn and Bronx and Queens, okay, Long Island City, and just really have raised prices all over.
Dottie, what about mortgage rates? Back at the beginning of May, you could get a 30-year mortgage for 3.4%.
Yes.
This is the nationwide average. Today, it's almost 4.6%.
Well, really? In the scheme of things, that's still very low. I mean, there was 4.6, I think for the last 25 years, they didn't have anything that low. So everything is relative. So it might seem high if you were at 3.5, but it's still low.
But
it's great.
Is it changing behavior, I guess, really, is what we want to know. Do you see people maybe backing out of the housing market because they say to themselves, wait a minute, I could have got a mortgage for 1.5 percentage points less only 2.5 months ago?
No, the exact opposite. People follow. No one thinks it's going back down. So people are trying to get in now, okay, to keep, you know, they know it's going up. So they want to get in now. And in actuality, in many ways, really, it was falsely kept low. So that shows that the economy is doing better.
Are we seeing people leave hot, expensive areas like New York, LA, Chicago, and going elsewhere, kind of taking their money off the table? And
well, I mean, look, You're always going to have people who want to move and relocate because they think housing is cheaper. But for most things, there's a huge trend across the country to urban areas. So exactly the opposite. More and more people want to live in New York City and cities now.
More international people trying to park cash?
Well, it's international, but I have to tell you, in our biggest buildings, there's a lot of people that live in New York, a lot of Americans. So it's not just international.
Dottie, you made the point that mortgage rates were artificially low. And we know that to be true because the Federal Reserve has been buying mortgage bonds and helping to keep them low. But it's still buying mortgage bonds. And the rates are also artificially low because Fannie and Freddie guarantee 90% of the U.S. mortgage market. The president wants that to change. What is that going to mean for your business?
Well, I really don't think. I think everything else. I think that first of all, the higher the rates go, and of course we're not talking about 12%. I mean, but 4 or 5%. I think that will open up lending to more people because the banks. Why should they give mortgages out? And they're making there's no spread. They're making no money. So I think that a little bit of higher interest rate won't kill anybody.
So if the interest rates go up, you believe that the banks will make credit more available because they'll want more people borrowing money?
Yes, and the refi
on a profitable basis.
The refi business is just about over for that.
But I want to know more about who are the big buyers right now. You said international is a part of it. It's Americans. What Americans? What demographic? What age? Because there's more people living with their parents longer than ever.
Well, that's a demographic living with their parents that's now coming out and buying. But I wouldn't say those are hot. Those are coming into an entry-level market. But there's always been a strong entry-level market in New York because it's tough to get in. The high end is really a combination. I think it's baby boomers that are not planning to retire, that have lived in the suburbs, and, their kids are bigger, and they're like, okay, what are we going to do here? So we need to be in the city where we started, and so you see a lot of that. You see the trends that people don't want to commute the way they did years ago, where they said, I'll drive an hour and a half so that I can get a bigger home, but I'll go through that drive every day. People don't want to do it. Nope. So people
want to use their stove for an oven, for a stove for a closet.
Well, listen, I get it. I just moved to another apartment myself, and I spent the most time on closets.
Yeah, not enough here in New York City.
Dottie, great of you to be here with us this morning, talking about home sales. She knows what it's all about. Dottie Herman, the CEO of Douglas Elliman, nation's fourth largest real estate